more days. All right. So problem number 15. So I'll write this down. Now, it might not be problem number 15 because every time you take the practice test, it randomizes the order of the questions. But on the hard copy, on the paper copy, this is problem number 15. And it says solve. I keep grabbing the wrong pen. Why do I keep doing that? It says solve. Get over here. Solve. You guys be quiet. I'm recording. X squared plus x equals -1. Now, whenever you have a quadratic, the best way to solve it is you want it to be in this form: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So to do that, I'm just going to add 1 here, and if I add 1 here, you know, whatever I do on one side, I do to the other side. The reason I do that is I want this side to equal 0. Over here, x squared is not a like term with x, and that is not a like term with positive 1. So I know that when it's written in this form that my a, even though it's not written down, is 1. Remember, a is in front of the x squared, so a is 1. B is the number in front of x, so b equals 1. And then c is the constant, so c equals 1. Now, this formula, you should, if you don't have this written down on your notes, I have some concerns. But the quadratic formula, which is about half of your test, is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Remember, your exam is open book, open note. And so all over 2a. So it's in your best interest to have this written down somewhere in your notes. So what's that look like? Well, x is equal to -b, which is 1, plus or minus the square root of b, which is 1, squared minus 4, times a, which is 1, times c, which is also 1. So all that over 2 times a, which is 1. All right. So then x is equal to -1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 4 all over 2. Seems like a lot. So then I have x is equal to -1 plus or minus the square root of -3. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Can we take the square root of a negative number?
No.
No. So I'm going to say -1 plus or minus the square root of -1 times the square root of +3. All over 2. And you might say, Mr. Adams, why did you do that? Well, because, silly gooses, the square root of -1 is equal to I. It's an imaginary number. So on the next line, wherever this square root of -1 is, I'm going to place an I. So then I get this is equal to -1 plus or minus I times the square root of 3 all over 2. Now, lastly, if you look in your notes, it says that the solution is x is equal to -1 over 2. I could separate this. -1 over 2 plus or minus the square root of 3 over 2, and they tack on the I. That's the answer. Are there any questions? Okay, good.